Hello, everyone. I'm Colleen Vanderzyden, and this is Creating an Inspired Life. I'm so happy you're joining in, whether you're watching or listening. It's going to be a great show, as always, and a great evening if you're going to keep watching and listening until the end of the night, where we can see all sorts of different mediums and psychics and everybody who will be here today. Now, I am a medium. I connect in with our loved ones on the other side. I'm also psychic, and I'm also a certified life coach. And as you know, my passion is to help people live their best lives and help people recognize they have the power to change their lives. They don't have to be stuck in their problems. Today's coaching tip is, it only takes a second to be nice. And if you've been watching the news, you know that there's a lot of people out there who aren't very nice. But this came to me yesterday when I was in a department store and I was waiting in line to go up to the cashier. And all of a sudden, the conversation between the customer who he was waiting on and him got my attention. She was an older woman, and I kept hearing no, no. He would ask her something, and she would respond with no. And she just seemed so very irritated. And I started thinking, what is going on? So I started to pay attention to what was going on. The cashier had asked the typical question, do you have a rewards card with us? And when she said no, he asked her, would you like one? It will save you 20%, and it's not a charge card. And she said no again in such an irritated way. I thought, well, this is really interesting. I find it fun to watch people when they're talking to each other and watch the interactions to see how they present themselves, to see if they're aware of how they're coming across. The cashier then had to ask the next requisite question, which was, do you have a credit card here? No. And he said, would you like to apply for one? And just as he said that, he looked up at me and he could see that I was watching this, and he had a little bit of a smile. And we both sat there, stood there, just waiting for this foregone conclusion of no, which she did say. And he laughed and he said, oh, okay. And then he says, well, I hope you're having a great day. And he starts bagging up everything for her. And now he has to ask her another question, which is a simple one. Would you like your receipt? And she pauses and hems and haws. And I'm thinking, how hard is that question? And then she says yes. And he really laughed then. And he said, oh, good. You've been rejecting me. I'm really sensitive. And it's good to hear a yes. And she actually smiled. It took him a long time to get her to smile, but he succeeded. So when I got up there to talk to him, I said, well, that was fun. That was an awful lot of no's. And he just laughed, and we just had a good time about it. And as he's ringing up my items, he asked if I had any coupons. And I said, no, I didn't know I was going to be shopping at the store today. And he says, well, you have a smartphone, right? And I said, yeah, I do. And he says, well, you can go to the website and there's this great discount happening right now. And I thought, okay, so we did that. And he patiently waited while I typed in the website and waited for it to come up and all that. And then he had to ask me if I had a rewards card with them. And I said, no, I'm not from this area. And he says, that's okay. It doesn't make any difference. If you sign up for it, it's going to save you 20%. And I thought, well, you know what? Why not? I'll sign up for it. So I sign up for it, and he ends up saving me $55 because I had said yes, and yes to the coupons and all this. And I said, oh my goodness, that was so nice of you. So nice of you to send me to your website. I really appreciate you doing that. You didn't have to do that. And he says, well, I like you. You say yes. You didn't reject me. And then he told me of a previous customer who, rather than saying yes to a question, says it only takes a second to get upset. And I was like, that's really strange. I said, it only takes a second to be nice. And he said, I know. And then I started thinking about that customer. What kind of person is this that has such a reaction to a typical store question where you get upset about something? And what makes him so reactive? It was apparent to both of us that this man hadn't made a conscious decision as to how he wanted to live his life, who he wanted to be. He wasn't aware of how he was coming across and how he responded to people. When you think about your life and your interactions with people, how do you respond? Do you decide to be nice? Many people are just living in an unaware state. They have no idea how they're coming across. They don't know why they respond with irritation or frustration, and they don't care to know. It's not important to them. Maybe they're just inherently unhappy. They're unhappy all the time. Maybe something horrible has happened. Their mind is someplace else. It could be that too. Or maybe they're a jerk. We just don't know. living with awareness is so much more fulfilling than going through your life blindly and having no idea what's going on. If you're trying to live your best life, that means taking responsibility for how you interact with other people, how you treat other people, whether you're kind to them or nice. I know some people who are self-proclaimed, highly spiritual people. However, they're rude and impatient with the teenagers at a local restaurant who serve them. The teenagers serve them there at the restaurant. These people aren't very friendly, and they seem to enjoy correcting the kids. And I've been told by some of these kids that these people are mean, but the kids are awesome. They can see right through someone's crap. They know when someone's full of it or not. And they can look past that persona of superiority that these so-called spiritual people put out there. And the kids always respond with kindness. They're patient and they're nice. They might be frustrated on the inside, but they don't show it. So who's more aware here? Is it the spiritually advanced people, or is it the kids? And I would say it's the kids. They're making conscious choices and conscious decisions. Now, some people might argue, well, they're in the service field, they need to be nice. And I would argue back and say, well, yes, they do, but that doesn't mean the customers have the right to degrade them. It's not cool when that happens. And we've all experienced times when we're near somebody who's rude or inconsiderate. And I'm sure cashiers and servers, they must get a lot of rude people at their tables or at their cash registers. They probably get a lot more than we do. And it is a two-way street. No matter what the relationship is between people, whether it's a server and a customer or a cashier and a customer or whatever it is, we should be treating each other with kindness. Although his customers weren't always kind, that cashier I was talking about earlier, he always responded with kindness and humor. He took it upon himself to try to lift the other person up. Did you hear about this story? I just read about this recently, about this guy who loved to play his music very loudly at 3 and 4 in the morning. He would have parties really late. Now, he was in an apartment building, and a nearby resident was upset by this because, as you can imagine, she wasn't getting enough sleep. The music was going on all of the time. And after several weeks of it, she thought, what can I do? You know, she didn't want to go bang on his door. It's not like her to do that. She didn't want to call the police. And she thought, you know what, I'm going to respond a different way. So one morning when she's up at 3:30 because he's pounding his music up there, she baked him a cake. And she wrote him a very nice letter and made some jokes in there about his choices of music and things like this, and brought it to his door. He wasn't there, so she just left it there. He ended up apologizing to her and turned down his music. And after they got to know each other a little bit more, she learned his daughter had been killed in a car accident. And this was the first Christmas without his daughter. She responded with kindness. If she had responded with anger, banging on his door and all that, it would have made an already difficult season for him even more difficult. But because she responded with kindness, they ended up having a nice, friendly relationship with each other, and they would go around and talk to people about different stories and things like this. And it wasn't in her nature to be mean. Her decision to be kind changed his life, it changed her life, and it changed everybody's lives who heard about this story. So it only takes a minute to be kind and to be nice. You can respond to somebody who's a jerk with kindness and be nice. Make the decision to be aware, to be friendly. Life isn't always easy. If you're kind to somebody, you may help them if they're going through a particular challenge like this man was, or it may help them just brighten their day and they feel like somebody actually sees them and pays attention to them. So just in that second, just make that decision to be nice. And that's my coaching tip of the day. You can reach me at psychicmediumcolleen.com, and you can also reach me on Facebook, Colleen Vanderzyden, medium and self-empowerment coach. And I would love to hear from you there. And we will go on to our first caller from Australia is Rosalind. Rosalind, how are you today?
I'm well, and how are you?
I'm doing really well. How can I help you?
Well, whatever you can tell me.
Okay. I always ask people if they have something in particular, because if people call up and they want to talk about their love life, and then I'm going on about some dead person on the other side, then they get all upset because they didn't get the answer to their question. But if you're open to anything, I'm just going to go with whatever happens. But if you have a specific thing,
just go with whatever.
Whatever. Good for you. That's the way to do it. Okay, good. That's perfect. I have a woman on the other side who wants to come in and talk to you. And the way she's coming in to talk to you, I feel like this is somebody who would be a little bit direct. I do get a little bit of pain in my back, okay? Sometimes I'll touch in physically.
Yep.
I do get some pain in my back there. She actually feels very motherly, so I don't know if I've got a mother or somebody like a mother, grandmom, something like this. She feels like this.
Right.
This is somebody I feel like I would just, speaking as her, I feel like I would just tell everybody just the way it is, and I would let them all know what they need to be doing and what they need to be thinking and what they need to do. There is no doubt that she's quite good at telling people how she feels and what she wants. Do you know someone like that on the other side?
Yes, I do.
Okay, good. And who would she be to you?
Oh, she's just a very close motherly figure.
Okay, good. I have to say, I do like her because there's an energy about her that makes me want to take action. You know, I feel like I wouldn't want to disappoint her. I feel like with her, there's such an expectation of other people and how they can achieve and be better in their lives. And I feel like she doesn't, I used this phrase the other day, cut anybody some slack. You know, she doesn't cut them some slack. But I also know she's a sweetie pie and she loves everybody. And she's there for them as much as possible. And it's such an important thing. Yes, you understand, because you guys are actually really quite similar in some ways. You guys have quite the time together when you're together.
Yep.
You know, I feel lots of laughing. Yeah, and I feel lots of laughing. I feel lots of, I don't know if I want to call it teasing, but back and forth. I want to go back and forth. And I feel like I want to, oh, you understand. Good. And I also feel like I want to talk about other people. Did you guys spend some time talking about other people and their errors, their mistakes, and how they're living their lives?
Yep, we did.
Okay. And I have to say, you guys are not malicious, though. It's not like you're mean. It's just sometimes we really wonder why people do the things they do. What are they thinking? You know, that kind of thing. Now, which one of you has a dog or had a dog that passed?
She did. She had a dog.
Okay, because I'm feeling a dog, and the dog comes in very clearly, and that actually is what the first thing I felt was, and then she came in. So that's very interesting. You know, I have to say, there's such a feeling of admiration coming through for you, because she says it's really hard to knock you down, that you do the best you can to keep going. You don't put up with other people's crap, and that's not the word she used. Interesting. She says you don't put up with other people's crap. You are just right there doing what you need to be doing. Are you like that?
Yes, I am, really.
Oh, good.
Yes, I am like that.
Perfect. And she likes that a lot, I must tell you, because she says, number one, you're kind of a role model for some other people too. She also tells me you intimidate people sometimes. Do you intimidate people? You let them know what you really think and they're not sure how to take you? Yeah. Do you have some people who aren't sure how to take you sometimes?
Yep.
Fun. And that's awesome. And you know what it is? It's you being yourself. You're not going to do something because somebody else wants you to do it. You're not going to do it because you're supposed to do it. If you want to do it, that's good. And this feeling of you not putting up with crap, she wouldn't put up with crap either. It's living your life on your terms as much as possible. And there's such a feeling of joy about that. She says also that when you have a problem, you do look for different outcomes. So if it's not working the way you want it to work out, you'll go, okay, I'm going to figure it out. And you used to try to force things to make things happen. Do you still do that?
Yes, I still do.
And it's so, that's really funny. So if it doesn't work for you, you'll work really hard to make it happen. You are a little bit stubborn, a lot stubborn, and you will try to push it through, but you're not stupid. So if it gets to the point where it's really not working, you'll just find a different way to get there. You're also really good, she's telling me, about, how can I put this politely? I can't. Just cutting people out of your life if they are jerks. Are you really
Yes,
good
that's
about
right. I
that?
do too. Yes.
Good for you, because there are a lot of people who are not good at that. And
Oh, okay.
you just sound like you are so much fun. Somebody who's
I
living
am.
their
Yes.
life. You're doing what you want to do, and you're living it like you're supposed to live it. And you're not letting
Yep.
people suppress you or anything like that. You're like my
No.
new idol right now. I'm so happy to have met you. I'm thinking, whoa, I want to be more like her. Rosalind is awesome. And you live your life. It's so cool. And that enthusiasm coming through. And what she's telling me about you is just so wonderful. And she says after she passed, though, you were really at a bit of a loss for a while there because you guys were pretty close. And it was hard. It was hard to adjust. And she says, though, you will be, oh, this is funny. You'll be walking down the street sometime and you might see somebody who's dressed a little oddly or whatever, and you'll say something to her. Like, did you see that? She thinks that is the most awesome thing when you do that. That is so funny.
Oh,
so
that's
even
good.
Yeah, it is good. Even though she's on the other side, you still have the relationship. You still talk to her. You still feel her about you. And the way she's coming through. Yeah, there's such a feeling of love here. And I do want to make sure I tell you that, how much she loves you and cares for you. And she wants to thank you so much. And she's basically telling you to go and keep living your life like you are. Have that fun. Have a good time.
Right.
Be you. Just be you. Oh, that's awesome. Well, Rosalind, that was so much fun talking to your friend. I had so much energy just come through. I didn't even give you a moment to talk. She just came through so directly. She must be one of those people. I just love you guys. You guys are so much fun. So much fun.
I think so too. And thank you for your reading.
You're welcome.
Okay, you have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye. And that was Rosalind from Australia. I tell you, it's so much fun when we get a spirit that comes in just so clearly like that and just talks, and just comes right through like that. I didn't even give her a moment to talk or say anything. It was so much fun. Next, we're going to move on to Leah, who is from Melbourne, Victoria, in Australia as well. Leah, how are you today?
I'm good, thanks, Colleen. How are you?
I'm doing quite well, thank you. And how can I help you today?
I'm just wondering if there's any messages from any loved ones.
From anybody on the other side? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, please.
Okay, I had a little bit of what do you call it? Static. Yeah. Oh, this is interesting. I have a mail coming in for you. And I'm feeling, my energy is totally shifting. I am feeling a much calmer, quieter presence than the previous person. And I'm also feeling I've got some chest pain going on, some breathing issues. My head also feels a little strange as well. And my jaw feels odd too. So I'm not sure what's going on here, but there's quite a few physical sensations. He seems to come in at a very, like I said, a calmer energy. He seems to be quieter. This is such an interesting feeling here. First, do you understand somebody like that on the other side, a male?
Yes.
Okay, and would you happen to know, and the reason I wanted to ask you that first was, would you happen to know if he had some inner pain where there's a dissatisfaction with life, or there's something about a dissatisfaction or a sadness or something? Would you happen to know if he experienced that?
Yes, most of his life. Yep.
Okay. It's kind of overtaking me, this feeling, because I'm unsatisfied. I didn't get what I wanted out of life, and I feel beat down, like no matter what I did, it just didn't work. I could try to do this, but things would go wrong. I do believe also, the way he's shown himself to me, that this is kind of really who he is, but put that together with some difficulties in life, and it's a little bit bigger than it might have been. You know, I feel like there's a lot of that feeling there. There's also, he's given me the impression, there's good reasons, excuse me, for him having been like this. I feel like when he was younger, there were some situations in his life that he didn't have control over that that really affected him emotionally. Do you understand that? Do you know if that's true?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Okay. And the way he shows it to me, it's a factual thing. He's not whining, complaining, or anything like it. It's a fact. It's just showing what it was. But he also comes through with so much love here, so much love. Who is this person to you? I should ask you this.
My brother.
Okay. And there's so much love coming through. And there's also this, I want to reassure you, this reassurance coming through that even though his life was on the more difficult side, the more challenging side, that he, on the other side, can look back at it here, so to speak, and recognize how life was, why it was, and all of that. I'm not feeling him being a mean person. So if he was, he's not showing that to me. I'm not feeling that. I just feel that beat down kind of person. The love that's coming through, though, is very strong. And he wants me to reassure you that it's okay now. It's okay. He also wants me to reassure you it's okay for you as well. I don't know if you're going through something, a struggle or something, but he wants to just tell you it's okay not to worry about it. He's also telling me that it's almost like you had some feelings of guilt or wishing you had done something different to make his life better. Had you experienced that kind of feeling?
Yeah.
Okay, and he just gave me a smile. He just smiled with that and said that he knew you're a very caring person. You try to help other people, and it was kind of, I don't know, frustrating is too strong of a word, bothering. It bothers you because you couldn't make more of a difference. And I feel like no matter what you did, it was kind of unacknowledged too. But I want to acknowledge it now if he didn't get a chance to do it before he passes, because I want to acknowledge that you tried, you kept trying, you kept helping, and he understands it, and he very much appreciates it. I mean, very much appreciates it. But you guys are close, though. You know, I do feel a closeness here. And he wants to let you know that he's at peace now. And this seems to be very important to recognize that he's at peace. He's talking about you, and as he's talking about you, I want to also give you some peace. He wants me to share that peace with you, to just breathe and recognize that everything's fine. It's the way it's supposed to be. Would you happen to have something of his? I don't know what this is. Would you happen to have a key that used to be his, a key? How interesting.
Okay, no, okay.
A key. It looks like a key. In my hand, what I'm doing is I'm taking one of my hands and pulling it over, and it's like I'm making something wider and then get smaller. So it looks sort of like a key. So just remember I've said that. It may pertain to something else, and that's just the closest he can get in my head. But there's something about something like this small metallic that you might have, or someone close to him might still have here.
There is a key that was involved in his death.
Oh, interesting. Okay, there we go. Okay, well done. He's a good spirit communicator. Okay, I only have a couple minutes left, so I can't go too far into this, but there is a mention of that. He's also saying, oh, this is interesting. Are you still carrying some of that guilt, feeling though you should have done more? He wants you to forgive yourself. He wants you to forgive yourself. He says it's not your fault. It's not your fault. He's talking about the path of life, and life goes the way it does. It's not your fault, so not to take responsibility for it, to let it go, to forgive yourself, okay, about this. You can't help other people. You're not the cause of things. Things happen, and they just happen, okay? So think about what he said with that, because the way he's coming through, it is, again, that reassurance, but also the peace is so important. It's so important. And I'm feeling he wants to guide you to that, to not beat yourself up. And I need a stronger word than that. To recognize that you're okay, you're fine. There is so much love coming in right now, so much love. And I understand you do talk to him, even though he's on the other side. There's also the feeling, I want signs about him as well. Have you smelled him by any chance yet?
No.
Okay. I don't want to put it in your head, but so you're looking for it all the time, but there's this definite smell that reminds me of him for some reason. When it happens, you'll remember me. You'll remember, oh my gosh. Don't worry, you don't have to remember it until then. When it happens, and it will be a when, you'll remember this. I want to thank you so much, Leah. It was so nice talking to you and talking to him. And this love he's sending to you, take it, accept it. It's there for you. And contemplate what he said about forgiveness and forgiving yourself, because he loves you so much and he wants you to be at peace for the rest of your life, basically. So, Leah, I have to let you go. I only have 30 seconds or so. So thank you so much for talking to me. I very much enjoyed it. You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Colleen. I enjoyed it too. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you. And thank you, everybody, for watching. I'm Colleen Vanderzyden, and you can reach me at psychicmediumcolleen.com or on Facebook, Colleen Vanderzyden, medium and self-empowerment coach. And remember, this week, just be nice to people. It only takes a second. Be nice. You have a great week, and I will talk to you next week. Goodbye.